Good morning, Agents of Nothing, and welcome to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. We are your commanding officers. I'm Mariah.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we're going to be talking about Season 4, Episode 15, Self-Control.
Yeah. So, Mariah, how was your week?
It was kind of a mix, to be honest.
Yeah.
But Sabrina Carpenter's new album came out, and I'm obsessed. Obsessed. Almost the whole thing is on my playlist now.
Nice. I haven't gotten to listen to it yet, but I've heard only good things.
It's so good. My favorites are Good Graces, Bedchem, and Juno.
Nice. Good Graces. That sounds like a debut Taylor song.
Oh my god, like, it's not sonically like a debut Taylor song, but it sounds like something Taylor would have written if she had been pop during the debut and Fearless eras.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Because it goes like, boy, it's not that complicated. You should stay in my good graces.
Oh my god, that does sound like it. Wow. Oh, I can't wait to listen to it.
Oh my god, it's so fun. I wish she had released it earlier in the summer.
Yeah.
Because it's like so summery. It's so fun.
Well, we still have a couple weeks of summer left.
So how was your week?
Mine was good. But coming up, before we release the next episode, my birthday will be coming up too.
Oh my god.
I'll be 29. And
that was a reference. I understood that reference.
I'm so glad. I almost... David was asking me a couple weeks ago, like, what kind of cake I wanted for my birthday, and I almost wanted to say a cake with Schmidt on it, saying 29. But I don't know how expensive that is, so I did not ask for that. But
I bet there's a lot of cake decorators in Austin that, like, could do that, though.
Probably, yeah.
That's the great thing about Austin.
That
in
is.
Big cities.
It is nice to be able to find anything. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to right now. I'm trying to embrace aging because I can't do anything else. So, yeah, we're good. It'll be on September 3rd, so y'all can send me all the new girl memes you want on that day.
She's a Virgo.
I am.
So, right off the bat, before we start, my computer is being weird and showing me a pop-up that says my Bluetooth keeps stopping, even though my Bluetooth is off.
That's fun.
So, if I pause in the middle... Oh, it just did it.
Oh, no.
If I pause in the middle of a sentence, it's because I can't see the script.
Wonderful. We love technology.
Love it. It's so fun.
Honestly, this is a perfect example of what's so terrifying about this episode, actually.
Truly.
When we rely on it, sometimes we can't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this episode was written and directed by Jed Whedon and serves as the last in the second pod of episodes for the season, subtitled LMD.
Yeah. All right, Jed.
Yeah, Jed.
Jed had my heart fucking racing.
Yes.
Oh my god.
This episode was so good.
Yeah.
Whedon felt comfortable taking on the challenge after being so closely involved with the series' cast and crew as showrunner alongside his wife, Marissa Tancharoen, and after seeing both his brother and series creator, Joss Whedon, and her brother, Kevin Tancharoen, directing episodes for the series. Whedon decided to make his debut during the 4th season after doing second unit work under Kevin on the 3rd season episode, Spacetime.
I'm glad it was the good Whedon brother.
Yeah, the good Whedon brother. Truly. Yeah, I'm sorry, Joss. Got them confused for a second.
How dare
Joss. Joss hasn't come back. I don't think he does ever come back since, like, the pilot episode.
Good. Good riddance.
Speaking of him, though, this is the first episode to be both written and directed by the same person. The closest to this was Pilot, which was co-written and directed by Joss Whedon, but not on his own.
And then we never had to see him again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as far as characters, we don't really meet anybody new, except that I don't know the names of a lot of the agents outside of our main crew. But
yeah, we know Piper.
Yeah.
Piper's on the plane now, and what's his name? The one that you keep forgetting about.
Was it Davis?
Yeah, Davis.
Okay,
he's the
I
one
remembered Davis this time.
Yes.
Well, I remembered his name. I don't know which one is Davis.
Davis is the one.
The tall one?
Yeah, he's training to fly the plane.
Okay. We got Piper and Davis.
Yeah. But they aren't new, so it's fine.
Yeah. And then a couple of things before we start. First of all, I did get spoiled a little bit by the show itself, because when I went to, like, play this episode, the next episode, the thumbnail for it literally shows Ward's face, and I was like, what the fuck? And the title of the next one is What If, so I kind of got it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was not prepared for... Well, you'll see. And then also, as a trigger warning for anybody who's, like, watching the episodes with us, there was a lot of wrist cutting in this episode. I kind of glossed over that so that hopefully, like, listening to this isn't as triggering for anybody. But just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. There were too many scenes.
Yeah, too many. Okay, so we open on Ada's little workshop on the submarine, and Coulson is having a great time in his framework fantasy. He has this, like, contented little smile in his sleep, which I don't know why, but that was very funny to me.
Adorable. Terrifying, but adorable.
Yes. And then we pan over to Ada taking the oxygen mask off of Ivanov, or whatever mask. I guess it's the sedative, off of Ivanov. And she says that she's playing one of his favorite songs because music improves mood by 9%, apparently. I don't know where she got that information, but it does sound plausible. Ivanov says that he always thought this would be a good song to be born to, not the other thing. He literally talks about death all the time, so I don't understand why he can't say it about himself, but whatever.
It's only okay when it happens to other people.
Yeah. But anyway, he begs Ada to kill him and not to use or change his brain or put him in the framework. He says he doesn't want to be a thing like her. And she says, "Don't worry, I'm not killing you, I'm saving you." And then she takes out, like, a fucking chainsaw or something, and then says, "You're gonna be many things." And then starts cutting into him. What the fuck? We start off just 100 miles per hour in this episode.
Truly.
That line, he says, "I don't want to be a thing like you," and she says, "You're gonna be many things." Holy fuck, dude.
That's hard as fuck.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That's
okay.
tough.
I'm trying not to, like, react too big at the beginning because, like, this episode got so fucking crazy. I was but I was, like, trying not to scream the entire time.
I kept getting interrupted because my mom was trying to install a video doorbell.
Oh no.
And she was like, Mariah, I need your help. And like every time I would go and help her and then be like, are we done? Are we good? And then I'd go back to watching the episode. She'd burst back into my room. Mariah, I need your help.
I love it. That always happens with like such impeccable timing because I'm quite sure it was like on very important parts.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm taking notes. My face is like glued to the TV screen. I'm busy.
Oh. Anyway. So back at S.H.I.E.L.D., Fitz and Simmons we're still in the moment where they're just figuring out that their friends are LMDs, and they're trying their hardest not to freak out. Oh, this gives me chills not thinking back on it. Oh, I hate it. So Simmons' first thought is to get them out of there, obviously. But Fitz manages to talk her down and convince her that the best course of action in this moment is to not let them know that they're onto them. Of course, while their terror is only barely contained, LMD, Coulson, Mac, Daisy, not Daisy, and Jeff all show up and surround them to say that the new mission is to bring all known Inhumans to S.H.I.E.L.D. For their own safety, since the Watchdog's main goal was to eliminate all of them. Fitzsimmons stumble their
way.
They grow all their facial hair out. Fitzsimmons stumble their way through the conversation and somehow convince the LMDs of their ignorance and that they don't need to be separated right now. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I love watching it all come together in
That's
your
so
brain.
gross. I hate it. Oh, okay. Coulson and Jeff walk away together and discuss the real mission, which is only thinly veiled anyway. That Daisy will call each of their Inhuman agents and then kill them on sight. Coulson breaks off and confirms with Daisy that Yo-Yo should be their first target, and then Daisy breaks off and heads to Mac, who is calling his girlfriend Yo-Yo to tell her that she is in danger. My heart is pounding so hard right now, I am legitimately terrified. Oh my god. Okay. This is gonna be difficult to get through. Realizing all the twists. Okay. So Coulson visits May in his office, and she's watching the snow fall out the window, and says that she has so many memories of snow, but this is her first time actually seeing that. That in itself was, like, so chilling for me.
Yes, very profound.
Oh my god. Coulson says that his phantom limb used to ache in the cold, or he remembers it, but it doesn't ache anymore now that he doesn't fucking have one. And May realizes that Coulson is an LMD too, and at first she's angry. But Coulson says that in the framework, Radcliffe made a world exactly like the real one, but with a little less hurt. He took away their greatest regret so that they get to live the life they wished they could have. Which makes sense for the next episode being called What If?
Yeah.
Coulson says that all of his regrets eventually stem from joining S.H.I.E.L.D. in the first place. So his framework world is living as a civilian. And that means that he and May not only could be together, they already are. Ugh. Ew! I know you're not going to answer this, but I just want them to be together in the real world as their real selves. I'm so sad. Fitzsimmons are speculating about when and how their friends could have been replaced, and as they're walking, a silent alarm goes off above their heads. The laptop on the cart that they're pushing, I don't know what this cart was doing the whole time. Like, this cart was, like, a main character in this episode. but I don't know what it was there for. Anyway, the laptop on the cart that they're pushing lights up, and one of them is an LMD. What the fuck? I guessed that it was Fitz because Simmons was the only one not alone in the warehouse. She was with Davis. And I hate when I'm right. And then the switch between, because they have their confrontation and they're both acting like they don't know which one of them is the LMD, and in that Simmons is starting to like question if she's the LMD and she doesn't know it. And then the switch between Fitz like desperately trying to convince her that he's himself to like stone-faced grabbing her and then stabbing her in the leg and knocking her out was absolutely horrifying. I fucking hate this episode, actually.
So Hinstridge and DeCasticker were named as honorable mentions for TV Line's Performer of the Week for the week of February 20th, 2017, for their performances in this episode. The site praised the pair for the confrontation sequence between Simmons and the Fitz LMD, saying, "While Hinstridge toggled between tears and intensity, DeCasticker crushed us by switching from an anguished Fitz doubling over as he slashed his wrist to an ice-cold android plunging a knife into his accuser. Simply chilling."
True. Whoever wrote that, yes.
Yes. And what viewers may get confused about in this episode is if Daisy is or is not an LMD. Only a quick comment in the last episode's screenshot, which Gemma and Fitz were watching, reveals the text, "Compile all report totals." This means that the countdown was overall cumulative, and the fourth LMD would yet to be revealed to be Fitz.
Okay, I was wondering about that. That's clever.
Yep. And, like, I don't know if it was an effective show don't tell, because it was so quick, and, like, not everyone would notice the writing.
Yeah.
You know, on the screenshot.
I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
My eyesight is not that good.
But it is like it's a cool show don't tell kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder how many people, like, saw it live, you know, and, like, realized, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I also wonder if, like, because I'm pretty sure that fun fact is one that I got off of IMDb, and those are fan submitted, I'm fairly certain.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wondering if that's like a fan retcon type thing, like that's the explanation they came up with, and they, you know, confirmation biased their way into. It could
Maybe
be
it was a goof. Just kidding. Anyway, what a great twist, honestly.
Truly.
Oh my god. And, you know, because in the last episode, we saw Daisy fighting with the watchdog, and that's what took her so long. And we saw Simmons being with Davis the whole time. But we didn't. We should have known. We should have known. Anyway. Okay. So Radcliffe wakes up and gets the update from Ada that she replaced 4 S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Radcliffe says that she can't restart the simulation while people are already in it like she did, because they could lose their minds like that. Ada quickly brushes over Radcliffe's questions about Ivanov, simply saying that he is resting. She says that they are working on getting the rest of the top S.H.I.E.L.D. operatives, Simmons and Daisy. Fuck!
So the episode focuses on the pairing of Daisy Johnson and Gemma Simmons as they have to fight the LMDs together. Whedon explained that he and the other writers felt that the two deserved to have some time together, as the series had not yet taken the time to show the characters unpack and hang with each other. I wouldn't call what they did hanging, really. Following Johnson's recent return to S.H.I.E.L.D. Their friendship is one we hang about, he continued. Huh? Okay. We felt like they were a good pair for this episode, and they wanted the two characters to not have been replaced by LMDs for the next storyline in the season when they get into the framework. It worked out on all fronts.
Yeah. No, I think I said later, like, we've been needing another Skimmins episode.
Yeah. We gotta have our Skimmins.
We gotta. So, Daisy confirms with Mac that it's really actually most efficient for her to greet every single individual Inhuman herself, which is a good question.
Yeah, there's probably at least 100.
He says yes, and they agree to meet on the Zephyr in 10 minutes to go get Yo-Yo. Fitz is starting to map Simmons' mind, but she slowly frees herself and drags herself over to a hammer on the floor. I don't know why he let her free herself. I guess just
it was
bravado.
Like really loose.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think he maybe he thought he could like distract her enough with like, oh, I love you and we're gonna get married, and like,
I don't know.
Maybe he thought he could coax her back into the chair. Or maybe he just thought she wasn't a threat because she was so drugged up.
Yeah. That's probably more the real reason. Anyway. So he tries to sell her on the framework, saying that Radcliffe has cured death and they can have an actual life together without all of the terrible things that always seem to be happening to them. As he said when he was trying to convince her that he was a real boy. He says they can get married and grow old together. And Simmons stops and says that this is the first time that he's mentioned marriage. And that broke my heart because it's not even him.
Yeah, I would be so concerned that that it wasn't true.
Yeah, I know. He says that he's been thinking about it, but was waiting for the right time to bring it up. This is why you should always bring it up. Because what if you get replaced
by an LMD?
Simmons waits for the right moment. She does not get I don't know what word I'm trying to think of.
See how she waits for the right moment to hit the pulley?
Very demure.
Very cutesy.
Mindful.
Very mindful.
So at the perfectly demure moment, Simmons slams the hammer onto a pulley that was holding up something heavy that falls and traps Fitz to the floor. Then she pounces on him and starts stabbing him over and over and over again. And at first, he tries begging her, saying, "It's me, Gemma, it's me." And then, very, suddenly starts choking her back, and then resorts to begging again, which I don't know why the begging he thought was going to work, but he tries to force her to look at him and say again, "It's me." And that doesn't make sense to me as a viable option, even for a robot, because she knows that it's not. And you were just trying to kill her. Anyway, so then she realizes that the stabbing is not working, so she cuts the side of his neck, and electricity sparks, and he, quote, dies. This is so intense and horrible, and I hate it so much. But also, what terrible design. You're gonna give your LMDs the same, weakness points as a human? That makes no sense. Because that's essentially, like, where your jugular is, right?
Yeah.
So that was dumb.
Dumb design.
Anyway.
On set, the cast felt more freedom to make changes to the script as they filmed, since the writer of the script was there to work with them. For instance, when filming Simmons killing the Fitz LMD, DeCasticker suggested that the android suddenly, quote, go real serious and grab Simmons by the neck, before going back to be pretending to be the real dying Fitz. Hold on, I said that weird. I think I added B somewhere in there. Before going back to pretending to be the real dying Fitz. Whedon noted that they had fun coming up with these suggestions and laughing between takes of the scene.
Well, I'm glad that they were laughing.
Actors are psychopaths.
Oh my god. I don't know how I feel about the, like, going serious in the middle of it and then going back to pretending to be real. That, I mean, it fucking freaked me out. It was very disconcerting, and caused, like, genuine terror. But
it's like a horror movie.
But I don't know. Because the LMDs are supposed to be working off of, like, robot logic, right? So I don't understand why they would think that that would be a tactic that would work.
I don't know. Maybe Ada programmed them to just, like, try everything.
Yeah, maybe so. Anyway.
I'm always playing, like, devil's advocate on this podcast. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not this insufferable in real life. Or maybe I am, and people just don't tell me.
What else are you supposed to do on this podcast when I'm asking stupid questions? Anyway, okay. So Mac is waiting for Daisy and asks someone where she is. And the agent says that she went to go check out the Inhumans' accommodations before they left. And Mac's like, shit! And then he heads after her. In the containment pods, Daisy is doing her final check, and then she comes face to face with herself. Or like 20 versions of herself. What the fuck?
For the sequence where Johnson discovers 20 LMDs of herself in storage at S.H.I.E.L.D., every shot had to be filmed 21 times using a motion control system, with Bennett moving between each position, portraying Johnson or one of the LMDs at a time. Cosa VFX did work on the episode, compositing the Johnson LMD shots together from the 21 individual takes, and creating a CG knife and blood for the scene where Simmons stabs and kills the Fitz LMD.
So there actually were 20? Because I just pulled that number out of my ass.
There actually were 20.
Wow. Nice. So Mac has arrived to the containment pod with all the daisies, and real Daisy's clothes are on the floor. And it's really lucky that she just happened to be wearing the same outfit under her clothes. Because it wasn't even actually like her underwear. It was like a tank top and like biking shorts, essentially.
Yeah.
And then she had another bra on underneath, because that was how she got the like strap to fall out of place for the decoy.
Yeah. One of the goofs, actually, that I didn't put because I thought it was so stupid, it was like, Daisy is shown to be wearing a tank top or bra under her shirt with black straps, but when she puts on the S.H.I.E.L.D. sweater, there's no straps there. That was
They could have fallen off. They
that
could
was
have
the whole
gotten
goof.
broken. There's lots of explanations for that. Maybe she just likes showing a little shoulder.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
Very demure.
Very cute.
Anyway. So, but, as we said, very lucky that she's wearing the exact same outfit underneath her clothes, because she's able to blend in perfectly. Mac slowly makes his way through the lines of daisies and finds one with her bra strap out of place. He quickly aims his axe gun at her, but not before the real Daisy quakes him from behind. She turned the decoys into a decoy. She grabs the gun, her clothes, and the iPad, and then runs for her life. She manages to calmly pass a few other agents, though why they aren't concerned at her being essentially in her underwear and terrified, I have no idea. I feel like if she passed me looking like that, I would at least be concerned.
Yeah, I wouldn't question it, I don't think. Like, to her face. I wouldn't be like, hey, what's going on? But I would be like, that was weird.
Anyway, so she finds some, I guess it was the weapons room or something. I don't know what room it was.
Some sort of storage
random closet to hide in. And here she watches the security footage on her iPad of the room where LMD Fitz's body was left. Coulson and Jeff are there with 3 other agents, trying to convince them that Simmons was compromised and killed the real Fitz. But one of the agents notices that Fitz has hardware under his skin, so Coulson and Jeff kill them all. And then Matt comes in to tell them that Daisy knows and that he's ordered all security feeds turned off. Wow. And then they turn to look at the camera.
Sorry. Absolutely no one would be, suspicious of that.
Literally.
Like, I don't know.
Very weird, very weird. So
very not
as the
demure.
screen,
very ugly.
Not mindful. Actually mindless. So
yeah. Truly.
As the screen goes black, Daisy notices a trail of blood on the floor nearby, and she finds Simmons hiding in the shadows. They both point their guns at each other and have the same whispered conversation that she had with Fitz, both saying that they're real, or at least they hope they are. Daisy says that she can prove it for both of them by quaking Simmons' hand enough to feel her bones, and to prove that the LMDs don't have inhuman powers. Or to prove that she's human because the LMDs don't have inhuman powers. Simmons is reasonably terrified to let Daisy touch her. But they both hear the other agents looking for them. So Daisy takes a risk and she pulls Simmons away from the light shining in the window, and they both hug each other so tight in relief, and they're both real.
When working on the season's 12th episode, Hot Potato Soup, Whedon had initial ideas of what this 15th episode would be, including a confrontation between Gemma Simmons and Leo Fitz, where they know one of them is an LMD, a subsequent confrontation between Simmons and Daisy Johnson, where they convince each other of their humanity, and then the final sequence where the pair enter the framework. When the writers came to work on the episode, Whedon realized he had not worked out as much of the episode as he had thought, but these 3 sequences remained the tentpoles of the episode's script.
They were definitely good moments.
Yeah, very memorable. Like, yeah. I do think of that scene in the closet. Like, when I think of Skimmins, that's like one of the main scenes.
Yeah. Oh my god. Because Simmons just kind of like shakily whispers like, "Oh, thank God," when she feels the quake happening. I cried so much through this episode.
It'll get you.
It got me. It got me a lot. Speaking of human emotions, Radcliffe and Ada are discussing the matter at hand. Ada is concerned because there are human emotions that she cannot and probably will never understand, such as love, anger, wonder, and joy. Because of this, she believes that there is a paradox in her programming, because her main objectives are prioritizing Radcliffe's life above all else and protecting the framework. But Radcliffe's human emotions could change, and he could one day regret his decision to create the framework and then ask Ada to dismantle it. So she believes that prioritizing Radcliffe's life above all else will one day threaten the framework. Radcliffe assures her that he believes that reality is perception. So even if the physical bodies die, their minds remain in the framework and perceive it as real forever. Which was the wrong fucking thing to say, because that gives her the confirmation she needs to give him a life-threatening injury and force him back into the framework. And how the fuck are they supposed to get out now? Fuck.
It's so scary. With the LMD Ada killing her creator Radcliffe in the episode, Whedon was asked whether that made her a villain, even the main villain of the whole season. He noted that she's just doing what she's programmed to do. She's programmed to protect him and the framework, and she finds a way to do both that might not be exactly what he imagined, but she's really just reenacting her programming. He added that she is programmed to mimic human behavior. I think that we're seeing that aspect of her taking over a little bit.
He did not answer the question.
Yes,
nope. That makes her the villain. Because we made the same argument about Ward, too.
Yeah.
He's just doing what he was ordered to do. He was following orders. That's what the fucking Nazis did. And they're still the villains. That doesn't absolve you of being a villain.
Yeah.
God damn it, Jed. So Coulson, Jeff, and Mac tell the rest of the agents that the base is on lockdown, and they are to find Simmons and Daisy, who have been replaced by LMDs, apparently. That made my blood fucking boil.
You hate when people lie.
I hate when people lie.
And you hate when robots lie even more.
Because they're robots. They shouldn't be able to lie. They tell the agents to shoot to maim, not kill, and to not be convinced by their friends' faces. Daisy and Simmons have guessed that that's what everybody's being told about them, obviously, because what else would they say? And Daisy's coming up with a plan to get them past the armed military-grade guards that are all around them. Steal a plane that they don't know how to fly, get in the air, and hack their way into the framework itself to find their real friends and save them. Simmons is daunted by this impossible plan, understandably, and is, overwhelmed with panic and grief about Fitz.
This is, one of the only personal notes I took. By the way, we were really cooking with grease with the fun facts with this episode. This is the first episode in a while to actually have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
And more than, 2 or 3 fun facts. So, I had fun.
Yeah.
I had a good time. But I loved when Simmons is saying, oh, we have to get past the armed military-grade guards, steal a plane we don't know how to fly, get in the air, and hack our way into the framework to find our friends and save them. And Daisy says, okay, don't say it out loud, because that made it sound way worse.
I love her. Oh, God. In trying to calm Simmons down in her panic, Daisy says that Simmons doesn't have to fight anyone because Daisy will fight for her. Simmons tells Daisy that she doesn't want her to sacrifice herself. She doesn't need to continue trying to atone for Lincoln's sacrifice anymore. Daisy promises that she's not sacrificing herself because she plans to win. And Daisy says that through everything that they've been through together, the one thing that she has always known for sure is that Fitz and Simmons belong together, and this is not how their story is supposed to end. Oh my God, the tears. God, that was so moving. So then, the most genius part of their plan. Several remote-controlled, like, forerunners or something carry laughing gas or sleeping gas bombs throughout the base to knock out all of the human agents.
So the sleeping gas that Daisy is considering using on the base appears to be methoxypropane, which used to be used as an inhaled general anesthetic. Though it is strange that S.H.I.E.L.D. would be using that, as they have access to technology and medications not available anywhere else in the world. Methoxypropane hasn't been used in several decades since the discovery of safer and more effective inhaled anesthetics such as desflurane, isoflurane, and sevoflurane. Okay. However, those are usually just used for medical procedures. The chemical used by the Russian government in the Beslan siege in 2002 is believed to be a derivative of fentanyl in an aerosolized form. It rendered a large group of people unconscious, but was also responsible for many deaths. What does that have to do with anything?
Oh my god.
Hello?
Wow.
That was from IMDb.
Just throwing that in there.
They're like, while we're talking about anesthetics.
In case you didn't know. Anyway, so moving on. Jeff says to turn off all the lights since LMDs can see better in the dark. And Coulson goes to get their contingency plan. LMD May is to act as their last line of defense.
Not to interrupt again.
It's okay.
But and not to like get ahead of ourselves in terms of like the storyline, but I do love the fact that the LMDs assume that just because May is an LMD, she'll be on their side.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, no, May is programmed completely differently to you.
Yeah, she's programmed to be herself, except for the one thing that she already completed.
Yeah.
Anyway, so while Daisy fights Jeff valiantly in the hallways, Simmons wakes up 3 of the agents that were knocked out by the gas. They don't believe that she's a robot at first, but she says, "I don't care," and then makes them quietly make their way toward Daisy. That was so funny.
She goes, "I don't care."
I'm so tired of this. Daisy finally electrocutes Jeff or whatever the fuck she does. But obviously Mac and Coulson aren't far behind, and they both shoot her in the shoulder and the leg respectively. As they slowly approach her, trying to coax her into letting them upload her brain into the framework, Daisy builds a quake ball so strong that when she lets it loose, it blows Mac's skin from his metal skull, and then throws Coulson through the opposite window. Now, why it didn't pull Coulson's skin from his metal skull, I don't know, but wow.
So for the conclusion of the central fight, visual effects were used to disintegrate the Mac LMD's head. To explain why this also does not happen to the Coulson LMD, who has further scenes in the episode, visual effects show glass taking the force of Johnson's ability and shattering in a mirroring of the Mac LMD's head disintegration.
Okay.
That was also from IMDb, I'm pretty sure.
Interesting. Because I feel like the glass would have broken anyway.
Yeah. I assumed that the glass was breaking because
Coulson was going through it.
Yeah.
But whatever. Okay.
The episode's ambitious central fight scene between Johnson and the LMDs took 2 days to film, a first for the series.
Wow.
The fight ends with Johnson using her powers to push the Coulson and Mac LMDs away from her, destroying the Mac LMD's head. For this, Greg and Simmons, Henry Simmons, not Gemma Simmons, were filmed on blue screen using a slow motion camera. which filmed the pair at 360 frames per second rather than the standard 24.
Wow. That's so crazy. That's so fast.
Yeah.
Damn.
It makes sense because I have heard that, like, if you try to shoot slow motion on, like, a regular camera, it looks so jumpy.
Yeah.
Because it's usually only, like, 24 frames per second. And in order for it to be slow motion, you need to have more frames than that.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense. That's so many frames.
Truly.
Wow.
360 frames per second.
Wow. Anyway, so Mac's metal remains fall through the door directly in front of Simmons and her reluctant crew, thus proving that Simmons and Daisy are not, in fact, the LMDs. One of the agents, Davis, had been just starting his training on flying the Zephyr, so at least someone can try to fly the plane. So he, Piper, and the other agent head towards the hangar, and Daisy reminds them that anyone else who's awake through the gas is a robot. Daisy and Simmons make their way more slowly, and I don't know why they split up because they were all going to the same place. I guess maybe the other three were like getting supplies or something, since both Daisy and Simmons had leg injuries.
I think so. It was partially that, because they did mention that they could walk better than they could. But it was easy to miss, I'm sure. They said that since the other agents could walk better than they could, that they should go and try to wake up more agents before the fire spreads.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that now. I forgot about the fire.
Yeah. Because the gas, they used an explosive to set the gas loose.
Right. I forgot.
Right.
Okay. That makes more sense. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So anyway, Coulson finds the rebuilt Fitz and tells him to program the daisies for a basic seek and destroy function. And then Simmons and Daisy, they're so close. They're so close.
Poor things.
They run into May, who is waiting for them in front of the exit to the hangar. And she is sitting on top of a pile of explosives with her finger on the trigger. May walkie-talkies over to Coulson that she has them, and then she says that Coulson gave her the order to stop them at all costs and that keeping them alive doesn't matter anymore. Daisy said that doesn't sound like Coulson.
Which is true.
It's true. And was exactly what was needed to be said. Coulson catches up to May as the door closes behind her. She let Daisy and Simmons through. And so then we see flashes of them hurrying to the Zephyr and getting ready to fly as May tells Coulson that he was right about their programming being different. Her programming was to retrieve the Darkhold, and that came from Radcliffe. But her impulse and desire to keep Coulson safe and close came from May herself. But this version of him is not Coulson. He doesn't feel pain anymore, and part of what made Coulson is his response to his pain. So, just before LMD Coulson can shoot her, May releases the trigger, and the bomb goes off. And the Zephyr, bucks from the explosion a little bit, but it's already in the sky, and it takes off, and everybody's safe.
So Whedon said that the goal of exploring LMDs for the entire second arc of the season was to use them to explore the nature of reality and identity and what defines a person. Are you defined by your physical makeup or by your emotional makeup? Bluetooth keeps stopping. By my past actions or by my current actions or by my regrets. This is epitomized by the LMD of Melinda May, whose character arc throughout the storyline ends in this episode with her sacrificing herself to destroy the Phil Coulson LMD and save the human agents. Whedon highlighted a scene where the android sees snow, and remembers May seeing snow before, but says that she herself has never seen it, separating herself from the human May, despite them sharing a brain, appearance, and memories.
Yeah. Yeah, the, like, philosophical questions that are being, like, explored throughout this season reminded me of why I hated my philosophy class in college. Because it is terrifying to me. The fact that there is no definitive one thing that makes up who you are is so, like, it's icky. It makes me like aware of my skin, and I don't like it. Anyway, so Daisy and Simmons are briefing the others, including Yo-Yo. I don't know when she got there, but she's there and she's safe and everybody's okay. About the dangers of the framework. They have figured out how to get in, apparently. I don't know how much time has passed here.
Enough time to pick up Yo-Yo, apparently.
Yeah. Enough time to pick up Yo-Yo and to figure out how to get into the framework. And to have a rendezvous point and to have programmed a back door to get them out. Wow.
Yeah.
So their objective is obviously to find their people and meet up at the rendezvous point and go back out as quickly as possible. Their physical bodies will die if they're in there for too long, and if they get killed within the framework, then they will definitely die. And they will die if anybody else tries to force them out of the framework too quickly, and like before they are able to go through the door themselves. So not a lot of safeguards here. Like, lots of ways to die. Only one way to get it right. But they go in anyway. This is wow. This episode, it's such a good Skimmins episode, and I hate it so much, but I love it. I love when they get to work together. They're literally just like such a great team. I love it. So then Daisy wakes up in a bathtub, and I hate it so much. Okay. Daisy wakes up in a bathtub and gets a text to wake up her boyfriend because they're being called in. She excitedly goes, "Lincoln?" And then she puts on her robe and heads into the bedroom. But the picture on the shelf is of her and fucking Ward! Ah! I knew he was going to be in the episode, but I did not expect this, and I hate it so much.
The end of the episode reveals that Johnson's boyfriend inside the framework is Grant Ward, who was portrayed by original series regular Brett Dalton until he left the show at the end of the third season, which killed off the character. Though Dalton himself is not shown in the episode, he is seen as Ward in a photograph for the revelation, and was confirmed by Marvel after the airing of the episode to be returning to the show. Whedon explained the thinking behind reintroducing Dalton, saying, "We figured when you get dropped into an alternate reality, what better way to show that it might not be everything you imagined than the return of one of our most loved and most hated characters."
Got that right.
Also, we wanted to have Brett back. We missed him.
Of course.
They made this decision when first developing the 3 main story arcs for the season. Asked if it was Whedon's choice as director to only show the character in a photograph for the episode, he explained that the decision was made for, quote, multiple reasons. Some of it is scheduling, but truthfully, it more has to do with Daisy walking by the photo unaware. We want the audience to know it's not Lincoln, her ex... Oh, I don't like that they said ex-boyfriend.
Wow.
It's still her boyfriend.
Yeah.
They didn't break up. He died. Her late boyfriend in the real world. But her not necessarily to know until the next episode.
God. Oh my God. the fact that, like, because Ada, I guess, was the one who, like, programmed this part of the world, right?
Yeah.
What did she think that Daisy's biggest regret was in order to... Was it she's, like, trying to make sure that she never met Lincoln? Or...
I don't know. I don't think that she programmed a biggest regret for Daisy because she wasn't in the framework, like, by Ada's... Because Ada programs it as the people are coming in.
Yeah, but, like...
But she doesn't know yet that Daisy and Simmons are in the framework.
But she did program their avatars and, like, their life.
Yeah.
I just... like...
I think that Daisy and... Not to, like, I'm trying to say this without any spoilers, but I think that Daisy and Simmons' existence and lives in the framework are just, like, collateral damage to everyone else's biggest regret.
Okay. Understandable. Okay, so now I will list everybody else's world in here. Coulson is a teacher, and his lesson today is Inhumans and why we fear them.
And then he underlines fear.
Literally. What class is this? Is this like Fox News fear-mongering 101? Like, what are we doing? Mac's daughter is alive, which is wonderful for him, so that's going to be difficult to try to pull him out.
Yeah.
Fitz is rich and holding hands with a mystery woman. Simmons is dead. What? So, like, did she plug herself into an avatar that is literally, like, underground? Is she gonna have to crawl out of an actual grave to do anything?
Buffy style. Buffy style.
Oh my god. And, like...
Jed taking notes from his brother. Oh, no.
Oh, no. And I said, I mean, it was, like, pretty hot when Dean Winchester did it, so it'll probably be, like, pretty hot when she does it, but... Oh, my God.
So, with the reveal of Simmons being dead, it's revealed that her middle name is Anne, and her date of birth is September 11th, 1987, the real birth date of Elizabeth Henstridge, who plays her on the show, obviously.
Yeah.
And I said, Virgo Queen, I love Virgo women. Virgo men, you're on very thin ice.
Fuck all of you.
But I love Virgo women.
I love that I have so much in common with Elizabeth Henstridge.
Yeah. The tombstones at the end of the episode that are seen beside Simmons are referencing Ian Beavers, an office production assistant, and Jeffrey Steck, a production accountant on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Interesting. I don't know.
I think...
I don't know that that's a good thing.
I remember you, like, saying, like, oh, I can't believe that, like, all of these references are from, like, people who, like, not that they don't have much to do with the show, but, like, they're, like, lower on the totem pole. Mm-hmm. And I do think it's because, like, the prop designers are also pretty low on the totem pole.
Yeah. So they're just, like, putting their friends' names.
Yeah.
But also, like, of all the things that they could put just, like, random people's names on, that's pretty funny. To be like, hey, I put your name in the show. It's on a fucking tombstone.
You're dead. So discussing the conflict between Simmons and the LMD of Leo Fitz in the episode, and the reveal in the end that Simmons is dead in the framework and Fitz is with someone else, Whedon referred to the pair's relationship as, quote, forever love, saying, I don't think anything will come between them, but that's why we constantly put things between them. Because the longing for them to be together is sort of the feeling that we're addicted to as writers, and hopefully the audience is addicted too. Yes, I was, and yes, I am.
Yes.
Fuck you. It's the greatest representation of the price of being a spy, is the things that are torn away from you. And there's no better relationship in the series to represent that than them.
Absolutely.
I remember specifically tweeting at some point in the series, I don't remember after what episode. I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you. But I remember tweeting, "Let my babies be happy."
For the love of God.
Because no spoilers, but shit like this keeps happening.
I mean, I figured. Even the LMD fit said that. This always happens. And then finally, May is working for Hydra, apparently. And then, like, is that who's calling in Daisy and fucking Ward? Like, I hate this so much.
So, in the framework, May is shown in an elevator of the Triskelion building, which was seen in the real world in the film Captain America: The Winter Soldier. For this 17-second shot, which starts on when, as May, pulls back to reveal the elevator, and then again to reveal the entire building, Fuse FX was given the digital models that were used in the making of the film, a model of the elevator from Scanline VFX, and the entire digital model of the building from Industrial Light and Magic.
Oh, okay. I remember the elevator scene in Captain America now. Okay.
Yeah. And then, yeah, this is just a repeat, basically, of the same note, but I didn't read it. Visual effects were used throughout the episode, including to depict the Triskelion building within the virtual reality of the framework, as set up for the next pot of episodes for the season. The digital model of the building used by Industrial Light and Magic for the film Captain America: The Winter Soldier was given to the series effects team for use in this shot.
That is cool that they got it, like, directly from the movie.
Yeah.
Well. All right. So now it's time for the post-content content. Ivanov wakes up and his body is perfectly restored. And we know this because he keeps touching himself. Ada assures him that he is not in the framework. His body is a replica, but his mind is safely contained within his real head, and he is controlling his body remotely. Which is so disgusting. She says that this is because she needs him walking around. She needs someone to act as leader who can feel love, anger, wonder, and joy. And, like, act on that. He asks when he will feel joy because what? And she says, when I'm able to feel those things too. Okay, so now she wants to be a real girl and what the fuck?
On what Ada does to Anton Ivanov in the episode, decapitating him, but having his still-living brain remotely control an android body, Whedon would not comment on any comic connections this has, but did say that he is his own sort of creation. He's different than the LMDs. I think Ada wanted to keep his humanity intact, and that was the main impetus to her leaving his brain as the remote control. After the series ended, the producers revealed that they were setting up Ivanov to become a version of the comics character MODOK, as they had been given permission to use him in the series, but Marvel later retracted access to the character.
What?
I don't know if this is why, but we do meet MODOK later in an Ant-Man film, and it's a very lame version of MODOK.
Oh my god.
So,
well, what if they had already started? What if they had already started using him? And then they were like,
right?
Oh, never mind. How do you retract that? Like, is that not, like, contract? Like, you have to sign something I don't understand.
I don't know.
Anyway.
It's wild.
This episode was absolutely fucking terrifying. Jed, we're on thin ice, buddy, okay? We were fine, but this concept is, I don't know.
That's your overall thought?
Yes. What are yours?
I have a couple of fun facts left over. The song that bookends the episode is Michael Pinder's Have You Heard from the Moody Blues 1969 album On the Threshold of a Dream. On the album, as in the episode, the peaceful song is presented in two parts, with a dramatic interlude between. The song's lyrics deal with the difficulty in identifying that a dream is not reality, much like in the framework's virtual world.
Ew.
And on choosing to direct this episode specifically, Whedon explained, I figured just throw me in the deep end and see if I can swim. And I did write a little bit of a deep end in some of it. I think it worked out. Having Whedon both write and direct this episode meant for star Clark Gregg, there's really no filter between the voice of this really wild episode and us. It's really kind of a pure conduit, which is great because there's some very radical stuff happening. So it's great to be able to talk to him about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet that was really cool, being able to speak directly to the source.
Yeah. Because I'm sure the writer, comes on set, every so often.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's not very often that you get to talk directly to the writer about the scene that they wrote and, what it means and how you should present it.
Yeah.
And I think it creates a very cohesive kind of episode.
For sure.
Because it's only going through, with a normal script, the director kind of, takes their interpretation of it and directs it that way.
Yeah.
And so it's going through two different people's perspectives.
Yeah.
But with this, is just going through one person's creative expression.
Yeah. It's like you said, there's a purity to it. Because you get exactly what was in his head when he wrote it.
Absolutely. Cool. Absolutely. Well.
Okay.
That concludes our episode on Season 4, Episode 15, Self-Control.
I gotta lie down.
Next time, we'll be covering Season 4, Episode 16, What If? So stay tuned for that.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Love you.